Does you want to see a card trick? Card trick, anyone? They're all losing.
It's getting wet. Stan's card trick.
It's the only way I'll ever remember it.
It's getting wet, Mom.
Unless you want to type out the
story.
the story.
Okay.
Yeah, good luck with that.
This thing's amazing.
Okay, I need someone to sit right here because I need a second cutter. All right.
Oh no, that's the card trick again.
Yeah, we're gonna do the card trick. Once a year, we gotta do the card trick.
At least every year.
Every year.
Oh yeah, I'm not.
But we've been drinking a lot this year, so don't expect a whole lot. Okay, we gotta go through the whole story here. Okay, this is a 52 card trick. This is the only 52 card trick you're ever gonna see where you have to pick up the cards when I'm done. All right?
Got it.
This is a story. This is the story about Big Boss and Little Joe. Big Boss and Little Joe are gonna open a bar. Big Boss tells Little Joe, go get me change for $40. Little Joe hops on his motorcycle. Cut those cards once. Little Joe's on his motorcycle. He goes down 1 block, 2 blocks, 3 blocks, 4 blocks, 5 blocks, and 4 doors down. Lo and behold, Little Joe's back. He said, I brought you change for that $40. I brought you 4 tens. He said, where'd you find that, Little Joe? He says, down at the 4040 Club. He said, very good, Little Joe. Here's a $2 tip. He said, you know, we got this. He said, but we need some liquor if we're going to have a bar. Little Joe says, I know where the best liquor in town is. So Little Joe, he hops on his motorcycle. And Little Joe's on his motorcycle, and he goes down 1 block, 2 blocks, and 3 doors down. Lo and behold, Little Joe's back. He said, I brought you the best liquor in town. He said, the 4 Ace bottles. He said, where'd you find that, Little Joe? He says, down at the 55 Club. He said, very good, Little Joe. Here's a $2 tip. He said, but if we're going to have a bar, we need some drinkers in this bar. He said, well, it just so happens I know where the 4 biggest drinkers in town are. So Little Joe hops on his motorcycle. And that Little Joe, he goes down 1 block, 2 blocks, 3 blocks, 4 blocks. I can't believe you're taking this. 5 blocks, and 2 doors down. And lo and behold, Little Joe's back. He said, I brought you the 4 biggest drinkers in town, the 4 King brothers. He said, where'd you find them, Little Joe? He said, down at the 66 Club. He said, very good, Little Joe. Here's a $2 tip. He said, we got all these guys in here. He said, but we got to have ladies in this bar if we're going to make this bar go. Little Joe said, I know where the 4 best looking ladies in town are. So he hops on his motorcycle. Go ahead and cut those cards. And Little Joe, he's on his motorcycle. And Little Joe, he goes down 1 block, 2 blocks, and 3 doors down. Lo and behold, Little Joe's back. He said, I brought you the 4 best looking ladies in town, the 4 Queen sisters. He said, where'd you find them at, Little Joe? He said, down at 77 Club. Very good, Little Joe. Here's a $2 tip. He says, now we got all these people in this bar over here. He says, we're going to need some bouncers. Little Joe says, I know where the 4 toughest men in town are. So Little Joe, he hops on his motorcycle. You know, why don't you cut them too? You know, go ahead and cut them one more time. All right. So Little Joe's on his motorcycle. He goes down 1 block, 2 blocks, 3 blocks, and 1 door down. And lo and behold, Little Joe's back. He said, I brought you the 4 toughest men in town. The 4 Jack brothers. He said, where'd you find them at, Little Joe? He says, down at the 88 Club. He said, Little Joe, he goes, how old are you? He says, well, I'm 53 years old. He says, you got any kids? He said, oh, yeah, I got 7 of them, 4 boys and 3 girls. He said, Little Joe, where'd you used to work at? He said, well, down at the old number 6 ballroom. Big Boss said, well, there's a big poker game down there last year. Little Joe said, I won that game. He said, that guy had a hell of a hand. He had 4 nines with 8 kicking. Big Boss says, I thought you won that, Little Joe. He says, I did. Little old straight flush.
That is crazy.
Yeah.